Hello everyone, it's Melanie. I am in the middle of something, but I have become such a terrible YouTuber not making videos lately that I just decided I'm gonna turn the camera on right in the middle of this. So let me take a second to see if I can catch you up. I hope everyone's doing well. I had an incredible trip to Colorado and I brought cool weather home with me. Look, see this? Long sleeves. It is 65 degrees. Ah! I'm so excited. So yesterday, I'm just gonna tell you real quick. Yesterday, I was thinking I want to make something and I was in my sewing room and I saw this little tub I have here of books that I've made, journals and stuff I've made. And I picked up this one out of it. So what this is a prototype I made a few years ago where I used my Cinch binding machine and I put some papers together and then I glued it into a hardback book cover. And part of it I know came from an idea where I started making covers kind of like this. This is made with some really heavy black cover stock, really heavy paper, and then this is just kind of collaged on the front, and then it has a transparency film sewn over it and just a fabric spine. But this one I sewed mixed media paper into. It's got 3 signatures in there. But then I started doing some of these where I just made the cover and then I put I don't see one. I cleaned off my desk. Anyway, I made a cinch binding little insert thing and then slid it into the back here so you could actually take it in and out. And I made quite a few of those for my friends, friends that I see in my needlework group that I used to go to. And so I don't have any of them, but I made quite a few of them that I gave away. So anyway, that was kind of how it started, but I think this actually came before it, and this is probably 2015. So this, like I said, is like a prototype. It's kind of messy. I was just playing with the idea. It's pretty imperfect. This is just a piece of book tape that I put inside the spine there, so it's kind of, not the greatest looking thing. I'm pretty sure that I adhered this backing into my book cover with carpet tape. And I know that this is older because when I flip through here, there are a lot of, there's vintage original ephemera. And I've kind of, gotten away from using a lot of my vintage ephemera because I'm running out of it. And the actual old postcards from the 20s and things like that. I'm running low on stuff like that now after doing this for a few years. So this is the one I looked at yesterday and I thought, okay, I want to make one like this. So I grabbed this cover. This little book is, where's my, this is about 8 1/4, and the pages are 5. So this is it's a really pretty brown, textile cover. I just used some fabric and glued some fabric onto the spine to cover that. And I had bought some of this paper collection, this Jen Hadfield. I bought this at Tuesday Morning, but then I also bought a bunch of open stock paper and stickers from this collection at Joann when it was on clearance, and I really liked this collection. So because of all the brown in that, I thought I would use it for this journal. So this is what I made yesterday. And as you can see, here's my prototype, which is kind of ugly inside and whatnot. So I did this one really pretty inside. So it has some paper from the collection for the end paper on the inside. I used paper from this collection from that Heart, what is it called? Heart of Home. But then I also blended, you know, I put some other papers in, like this is some of my vintage vegetable can labels and coffee dyed paper, coffee dyed comp book paper, that's scrapbook paper, more labels, and I just kind of played with this, putting in some vintagey looking stuff and some envelopes and things like that. So this one turned out really cute, and once I got this put together, I used this is one of those sheets. I think these are like Project Life size. You know, the scrapbook paper sheets that you cut up. So I used this one. See how cute it is from the collection. This is from the collection, the little card. And then this inspired this little illustration that I painted on the front. So I painted this with acrylic on the front. And then once it was really nice and dry, I don't know if you can see it, I sanded it. So see how the texture of the book cover is coming through there? So after I painted it, inspired by this, sanded it down, and then I put a layer of matte medium over it. So I'm really happy with this one. I think it's really cute. Haven't decided, you know, what I want to do with it, if I'm going to let it go or if I want to keep it. But I started thinking I wanted to make another one. So I pulled out some book covers this morning that I had that I could use. I've got all different, some vintage books. This one will be fun. It's a cover that I painted and then put a varnish on, gloss varnish. This one will be a great one, I think, for this kind of project. And because I can put my favorite cinch binding, I think will fit in here, which is the spiral. I love the spirals. So I think I can make one of these with a spiral cinch in there. Then I have this one, which I've been hanging on to. I love this cover. And then this is just some, these are a couple of covers of books from the Dollar Tree that I could use for that. And then what I was going to make a video of this morning, I had made this cover a while back, and this is just some patchwork that I stitched up and then glued it onto. This may actually be a cover from the Dollar Tree too. So I stitched that on, or stitched it together, glued it on, and then I glued in this end paper. And I think my intention was with this was to just, you know, do a regular exposed binding, you know, 2 or 3 signatures in here, but I thought I could do this with it and do put a cinch bound thing inside it. But I'm not thrilled with the way this cover is working right here, so I put this one aside. So I think what I've decided I'm going to do, because I already had all of these papers ready to go that I was going to put in this journal, but they'll fit also in this cover. So I think I'm going to put these in this cover. And what I've done here is I cut a variety of scrapbook paper that I thought was cute, because I actually cut all this thinking I was going to put it in here, so that's why it's so bright, but it's still going to work. I think it will still look really cute in here. So I cut out scrapbook paper to fit. Let's see, there's just some blank paper, scrapbook paper, and there's graph paper, there's notebook paper. I think I have, yeah, college rule and wide rule notebook paper. And then I grabbed some little bags and some envelopes that I made to stitch in there. This is a piece of vintage wallpaper that I folded to put in there. And then this, I have a bunch of these big envelopes that I think are from, you know, those printable invitations that you get. I think that's what this is from. But anyway, this is what I just did, and then I thought, okay, I need to turn the camera on. So this will go in also, and it's just, I had to cut off part of the envelope to make it fit, and then I just stitched it, you know, onto this. So here's another one of these envelopes I think I want to include, and the size I was going for these pages was 9 by 5.5. So I'm going to trim this down so that it's 5.5 wide, and then I'm going to punch this, and then I'll put these together, and I need to put a new end paper inside here. So let me trim this down to, it's a little less than 5.5. And I'm not going to stitch up the end of it or anything, but I'm going to punch this. And this punching can be kind of loud, so that's the part that's loud. So I don't know when I got this thing. I think I got it in 2014 or 2015, that cinch binder. But I used it like crazy. Made tons of journals with it and whatnot. So this, let's see. I was just gonna mix together blank pages and scrapbook paper pages and whatnot to go in here. So let me trim off. And like I said, I apologize if I'm kind of all over the place because I just sort of decided at the last second here that I needed to turn on the camera. And so the way that I put these together, oh, but I need to do this too. Let me put a piece of end paper in the back of this first. I'll show you what I'm going to do. So this particular book cover is, I mean, it's pretty sturdy on the outside. I did put some glue stick and glued down this inside here. I really like what's inside this cover on the front there. In 1962, Vern, look at that, Vern Boylan, he turned this book in the condition F. So good job, Vern, you know, tearing up the books, tearing up the school books. But I don't think I want to cover this up, but I need to cover, I want to cover this. So let me get, I need to put a piece of paper in here to cover this spine thing. So I'm trying to think. Oh, I know, I've got some. Okay, this would be good. So I could cover the back of this like with this, because I love this side of this paper, but this I don't ever use. It has like unicorns and stuff on it. Not exactly my thing. So here's what we'll do. I'm going to measure, say I want it like right there. So I'm going to cut this piece just big enough to hide this end paper that's inside the book. So I'm going to trim it right there and right there. Let me trim this. this should fit. And it does. Okay, so I'm going to glue this down. Where's my magazine? So if you've watched any of my videos, you know this is my favorite, this Scotch Create glue stick. You know this is my absolute favorite. But I was wondering, because this is just a Scotch permanent glue stick, and it says fabric, that it, you know, glues paper and fabric. But I was wondering the other day about the other Scotch glue sticks, because there's also this Scotch glue stick, which says permanent. And on the packaging, I believe it says, whoop, that's not the camera, it says paper and fabric on this one too. So I grabbed a couple of these because I think they're less expensive and maybe easier to find. So I want to experiment with those. If anybody has used that other Scotch glue, and you like it, let me know. Just curious. But when it comes to this, I am not messing around. I am putting a lot of glue on here. Okay, so I want to cover up. My head might get in here just a second because I want to make sure I've got this straight. Okay. And then I'm going to burnish this down in here. So this is going to reinforce the cover, reinforce the binding. It's not really doing much for the cover itself, but just for the binding. And I need to make sure I got all of the edges. Oh, the other thing I was thinking about when I bought this was that how I do so much of this, where if I'm going to glue something on, I put it down and then I make sure the glue overlaps off the edges of the paper, but I waste so much glue doing that. And sometimes, like especially when I do those cutout letters and stuff, when I do that, I don't necessarily need this wide of a glue stick. So that was kind of my other thought behind this too, was that it's narrower, so I feel like I'm not wasting as much glue. Okay, got some extra glue on there. Clean that up. So I did have a wonderful time in Colorado with my mom and doing that Pam Garrison painting class. I tried to get my stuff together to journal about it, but I haven't done any journaling about it yet. I didn't do any journaling while I was there because we were busy, or I was. I felt bad for my mom because she went with me so I wouldn't have to drive by myself, and then I just left her in the Airbnb, and she watched Netflix and Hulu and crocheted and stuff all day. But she said she had a good time, so I'm gonna trust her that she actually did. So, okay, I like that together. I like this paper with this. So there we go. And then I'm just gonna leave it like that. This is actually gonna get covered up. Excuse me, so I actually could have just, put it to like right here. I didn't have to bring it all the way to the front, but I just really want to make sure this is nice and adhered down. Okay, so while that kind of dries and everything, let's put the pages. Ooh, I'm gonna put the pages in here. So I've trimmed this, and let's figure out what kind of order I want to put these in. The first time I punched, I didn't pull the pin all the way out, so it didn't, there's a partially punched hole there, but I'm not going to worry about it. So this is going to be what will be in the back. So that'll be the last page. And then can't decide how much actual like sewing I want to put in here, or if I'm going to put more pockets in, I think I might do it kind of after it's put together. You can't see what I've got going here. So here's my scrapbook paper, notebook paper, graph paper, different kinds of paper. More notebook paper, more graph paper, more pattern paper. And I think I'm just going to kind of mix it up. So a couple of sheets of notebook. And let's see, a couple of sheets of blank paper. And I think I'll put some tabs and stuff in here too. So a little gift bag, put in there. More blank paper and more, a few sheets of notebook paper. Put another piece of scrapbook paper, because I could still make a pocket on this by gluing the pocket on. If this is enough graph paper, put in another envelope, or let's put that 80s or 70s. Ooh, it's Mylar wallpaper. And I did not count how many pages I cut for this, or how much paper I'm putting in. I'm just kind of grabbing some. So now you know I showed you that little bin. That's just some of the journals I have that I really need to decide to do something with. I need to put them in my shop, but I don't like taking the pictures. That's the part that bugs me. Kind of fun though, just figuring, just sort of random paper and pages. Uh-oh, that's the next door dog. So now that he's barking, that means my dogs are probably going to start barking. So let's see, what have I been doing? Oh, I know what I need to show you guys. When I got back from my trip, I only had 4 blocks left on the quilt, that I've been working on. And I buckled down and finished it. And I finished it while watching Bates Motel. My mom and I started she had already watched Bates Motel on Netflix, but she got me watching it when we were in Colorado, and So there's 5 seasons of Bates Motel. So I watched Bates Motel and finished hand quilting my quilt. And then I got the binding stitched on. And it is, I washed it, which is always the kind of scary part when you make a quilt. Is, you know, how knowing or seeing how it's going to come out when it's after you wash it. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, but it came out of the dryer beautifully. It has a wool batting. Inside, I used a wool batting, and the way that it shrunk up and whatnot, I think I'm gonna make this the front page. The way that it shrunk up, it's just absolutely, it's fabulous. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, those don't fit, so I'm not gonna put those in there. Do I want this in there? Yes. And yes. Okay, this is kind of a strange journal, but so here's what I ended up with for this. So it's a mix of notebook paper, graph paper, scrapbook paper, envelopes. Let me flip through here and see if, because I've got these 2 remaining. So do I have, this is kind of a lot all at once. I guess I could put another one in there. Put this blue page in here. Let's stick that back on. Let's see. And I mean, I don't have to use this, but it does fit this book. Feel like, although that, I think that's a lot of pages, but I kind of feel like I could put, well, I've already got that page in there like that, so I think that's enough. Oh, there's this, and I didn't punch that one, so I won't use it. Do I want to sneak this one in there, or do I want to put it right there? Sneak this one in here. Okay, and then I think I want to do a title, a place for a little title page or whatnot right there. So for that, I usually use a piece of transparency film and just stitch it on as a pocket. So let me cut a piece of this and sew it on. Sew that right there. I think some masking tape. Is that square? I don't think that's square. It's not. Let me square this up. The other end of it must not have been straight. Let's go 3 and a... Let me do it on the big cutter. Maybe that's... Okay. Now it's square. So let me sew this in place. So I don't really have any good excuse for not making videos. It's kind of weird because But I'm kind of like that. I go with whatever is inspiring me, or whatever's kind of got me. Whatever I'm into at the moment. And I think lately I've been painting. After I went to that workshop, I've been painting, and I was spending a bunch of time quilting. So those aren't really things that I record. So that's probably why I haven't been making any videos. Piece of this. Just gonna make a little title card to put in this pocket in the front, because I love having a place to write, you know, what's going on, what this journal is about, that kind of thing. Just get a piece of, a little scrap of fabric. I'll just use this. Stitch this onto the top. That's the better side. This will be the front. I think I'll stitch all the way around. So I mentioned before I went to Castle Rock, and it was still pretty warm there. It was in the 70s. One day that I was there, it was 80 degrees. And then yesterday, when it cooled off here, I still had the Castle Rock weather up in my phone when I opened the weather on my phone. And it was 12 degrees there, which I don't know if it was snowing or not, but that's not something we experience here very often, 12 degrees. Okay, there's my little title page, or my little title card. Put that in there. So my thought here is I can either go ahead and cinch this, but if I want to sew anything else on, you know, I think I can just stitch it after I cinch it down, because now I've already put it in order, and I would like to, I can just sew stuff onto it after I crimp it. So I think this is one of the, okay, this is one of the things that I don't like about this cinch. Okay, here's what this says. This binding wire is 0.625 inches. But then to decide, then you have to convert that, which, what is that? Hang on. My mom gave me this the other day. I love these things. So 0.625 inch, millimeter, centimeter. Yeah, it's not on here. This isn't helping me. Well, 0.5 is, 0.75 is 3/4, and 0.5 is, so this is a half, so I'm guessing it's 5/8. That's my guess. So let me see. Push this up in here. And crimp that down. And crimp. Oh no! I forgot the backing. I forgot to put the backing on. Okay, we're gonna figure this out. I gotta make a backing for it. So this is just a piece of cardboard. Actually, I think this came off of a shelving unit. It was the backing for some shelving cubes that my daughter got for her dorm room. And I threw them in the trash, I threw them in the recycling, and then I grabbed them out the other day. So I need to trim this to the same size as my pages, which was 9 by 5.5. So let me cut this. This, and then I need to punch it. Oh, I can't believe I did that. So, punch this. And I think I'll still be able to get it in there. So I want this, when I fold it around, I want it to be glued in the back of the book like that. So I'm going to glue it on, or put it on like that. So let's see if I can get this in here still. Now you get to see what I do when I mess stuff up. So let me see, do I have another story for you while I try to get this down in here? Oh, I do have one kind of funny story that happened to us. So I mentioned we started watching Bates Motel while we were there in the Airbnb in the evenings. And when we were driving back to Texas, we tried to listen to some audiobooks. I introduced my mom to some podcasts, but I was really curious because we had been watching for 3 days. We had been watching Bates Motel. I was really curious what was going on. So I would not advise this, especially if you're alone in the car. I would think this is never okay. But, so I pulled up Netflix on my phone, and she watched Bates Motel on my phone, mounted on the dash, whatever, while I listened to Bates Motel. And I even angled the screen of the phone towards her so I couldn't see it. And then if there was something going on the show that that I needed to know what it was, then she would just tell me what was happening. So I was listening to Bates Motel. So we get to this actually we had turned it down, or we had paused it or something, because we were changing interstates, changing freeways or something. And I got on, here's an interstate, and I'm coming on this interstate like this, and we're listening to Bates Motel. And just as I come onto this part of the interstate to merge and get on this road, I'm merging on, and I hear this really loud honking and screeching tires, and it scared me so bad. I thought something was happening. while I was merging on into traffic on this other freeway. It freaked me out. Turns out it was on the show. It was on Bates Motel. And so that's a good reason why you should not listen to Netflix or when you are driving. My mom got such a laugh out of it because it scared me so bad when it happened. Anyway, it was pretty funny. We laughed about it for a while, but it did scare me. Okay, this is gonna look good. I'm liking it. But do I want to stitch some fabric to the edge of this? I have these little page tabs that I could just glue on like this, or I could go ahead and put, if I wanted to put some ruffles on these, on the edge of these pages. I think I want to do a few ruffles, so I'm going to cut some, just cut some pieces to fit on here. Anyway, that was pretty funny. I mean, it was funny. It was funny after it happened. It wasn't funny when it happened because it absolutely terrified me, because I thought that there was a car, you know, directly on my bumper honking at me. And it really freaked me out. So that's a good reason not to watch. But I wasn't watching, like I said, I was just listening. But, you know, if you do have a podcast, that's not a good thing to put in a podcast either, would be loud honking horns and traffic sounds, because if somebody's listening to it while they're driving, it might scare them like it did me. Let's see, what all do I want to put in here? So the place that I went in Castle Rock for this this workshop was Jean Oliver's studio, and she's an artist who does she has her creative network online where she hosts classes from her own classes and classes from a number of other artists. And I was aware of her stuff before I went, but I had not, actually I had downloaded some of her, one or two maybe of her free workshops before I went to this, before this workshop came about. And this one was Pam Garrison, like I said, it was florals. We did all florals the whole time. But I literally cannot say enough good stuff about my experience at Jean Oliver's studio. It was absolutely over the top. The studio itself is absolutely stunning. Fantastic. She's got it's 30 by 40, so it's 1,200 square feet. I asked her husband. Her whole family is kind of involved in the operations of the, you know. So her son, she has a son who's 13, who took our names the first day when we got there, you know, when we pulled up. This young man is one of the politest and sweetest 13-year-olds I have ever met. I mean, he was so kind and so well-spoken, and I can't say enough lovely things about this family. And then the workshop included our lunch every day, and when I get my pictures done, I mean, I have some pictures printed, but when I do my journaling, I'll have to show you pictures of these meal spreads, these meals that we had. It was just absolutely amazing. So if, I know that she mentioned that she had one more, I think this weekend, she had another class, and then another workshop, and then after that, she doesn't have one till next summer, I guess. She said that they would have a 7-month break where they didn't have any workshops there. Let me grab let me put this on here so I'm not having to hold this up. I guess this is kind of the downside of me doing impromptu videos, is I don't have everything prepped. But so she's not doing another workshop till next summer. But I'll put a link to her website below, to Jean Oliver Network. If you ever have the chance, it sticks out kind of far. It's okay. If you ever have the chance to go to a workshop of any kind, really, I mean, at her studio, I literally cannot recommend it enough. It was fabulous. I felt so pampered. And of course, Pam was great too. I have painted with her, or I took a journaling workshop with her at Donna Downey's studio in North Carolina a few years ago. Actually, I think it was 2015. So I'd had a class with Pam Garrison before, but it was fun to get to see her again and work with her. And of course, anytime you go to something like that, it's neat because on Instagram I have some ladies on, there's some ladies on Instagram that I met at the Donna Downey workshop that I went to with Pam Garrison years ago, and they are still regular, you know, we comment or see, you know, I see their work on Instagram all the time, and they're always leaving, you know, they're always, I don't know, it's just fun to connect with new people when that you have something like that in common with, because I don't connect with very many people locally. Oh, well, that's not true. I don't connect with anyone locally who does junk journaling. But I think I have had a couple of you comment that you were in my area. Maybe we need to do something. Maybe we need to get a local group together. Let's see, I need a tab right there. Let's put one. Do I want these houses, or do I want this on there? I'm just kind of jibber-jabbering. I'm almost finished with this journal though. I'm ready to glue it. I think I'm ready to glue it down. So now I want one down here somewhere. See, I've got this area kind of covered, so I think I want to put one down here. Here's pink. This pink on pink. And I usually, when I do journals, I usually stitch my ruffles and things to the pages before I make the journal, but Sometimes I do it this way too. It's a little trickier to do it this way, but still works. Okay, I like that. Do I need another one back right in here? I may already have enough. Because I don't want to put one, this is not cardstock or heavy paper. This is some Amy Butler, but it's not heavy. It's just normal office weight paper, so I don't really want to put a tab on it because it's not that heavy. I think I want to put one right here, but I'm not liking those houses. Let me get something else. Let's see what colors. I need something green to match this cover. Here's some green. Another green. There's the cover. Oh, no, don't like that. Ooh, this. No. Maybe I don't want green. What if I, no. Okay, this is taking way too long. I'm also very, very, very behind. Oh, this works. I am very behind on watching YouTube videos. So I hope you guys are still out there. I looked at my channel and it said I've only posted, my videos were a month ago, most of them. And then that one a week ago, so I really need to get on top of it. Yeah, I'm gonna put this one here. But if any of you are like me, I just like putting YouTube video on and then kind of, you know, watching / listening, letting it play while I'm doing my crafting. And that's probably what I'll do now that I think I've watched everything Netflix has to offer. I am pretty much caught up. I don't have anything new I'm watching now. Okay, so I keep wanting to clean off my Surface because I look in my laptop, my MacBook is sitting there and it's reflecting what I see up here on my camera. And I have splashed paint all over the screen of my MacBook. So every time I look up to see like how long this video is, I see all these spots that look like they're on my work surface, but they're actually on the screen of my computer. So now I just need to attach this to the inside of this. Just decide how far in I want it. I think right about there. Maybe I'll move it in a teensy tiny bit. So let me make a mark on here perhaps. Because I can move it out just a little. Yeah, like right about there. I'm gonna line it up with that line right there. So do I want to do, oh, you know what I think I'll do? What I did with the one, here's what I did with that with this one, the way I attach the backing. I'm going to use this double sticky tape. And now I'm thinking of something. You know, I was also thinking to kind of reinforce this a little bit, I could put some eyelets through it. If you know, this cardboard plus the book is not too thick, I could put a couple of eyelets through it to reinforce, you know, holding it in place. And if I did that, I could put a piece of elastic to keep it closed. Okay, I had to run to the sewing room. So here's my fold over elastic. And here's kind of what I was thinking. That if I put a piece of this, then this could close the book. So it would hold it closed, and it would strengthen this being attached to the back cover. So I think that's a yes. But this is also now the part where I could completely mess this up if I put this in here and then, you know, the eyelet is, if the eyelet doesn't go all the way through. So now I need to decide where I'm going to put this. And I want it, I think I want it like right here. Where's a piece of, I'll just use this. Let me line it up. It's my ruler. Okay, I'm going to measure in. We'll put it in an inch. An inch from the edge of the cover. So I'm just going to position this like here and here. And I want it to go this way. Let's see. Like that. So when it's wrapped around the front cover, okay, is that tight enough or too tight? Because then this will, it'll be like that. And then it'll hold this reach to hold it down, kind of. That will hold that, and then this can hold this edge. So then I can see, yeah, that's good. And it will give it some room. That'll give it some room to grow. Or I might just pull it in a teeny tiny bit more. And then it can go on the back there when it's not. I'm going to pull it in just a tiny bit more. Make it a tiny bit tighter. Okay, so that's where that's going to go. And then I'll put my, I'll put an eyelet in there after I get this backing glued in here. But I think I want to I think I want to put this double-sided tape on the outside edges of this. those are fabric scissors. I don't want to use those for this. I need to get another pair of non-stick scissors. I had a pair that have that Teflon coating. They're just Fiskars, but they have a Teflon coating. And my husband borrowed them to use in the garage. And he kind of acquired them after that. Oh, I think I'll use this. Put this in the middle. I think the key to this tape, this double-sided tape like this, is to make sure that I press it down really hard. And you know, a grommet would work. A grommet would work going through the cover too. I just thought an eyelet would be easier because I can just do it with my crocodile thing. Okay, so now I want to line this up. Basically right there. Make sure it's good top and bottom. Okay, it's in. Right there. Okay. So now I need to burnish this down. So I'm just gonna, I think I'll try and kind of, I did on the other one, I kind of rounded this cardboard just by sort of trying to bevel the edge down a little bit. Ooh, I like that elastic on there. I think I'm gonna like that. And then just really push that down in there. Oops! I kind of messed it up. What I did on the other one too is I used the same paperboard, I guess this is, the same paperboard, but I turned it with the brown side out, and then I just put a little pocket on there. So I may glue something to the back of this also. And it probably wouldn't hurt to put a weight on this and let it sit. Make sure that is really nice and stuck down. Okay, so I like it. And then here's what this will do, but I don't want to pull on it too hard. So that will keep the book closed. And then you can flip it out there when you're using the book. So I think I do want to reinforce that with the eyelets. I think I have some, I don't know, they're not very, I could do that green, but I could do one, I have these gold ones that have a backing, whatever, that they look a lot nicer. Let me see how thick that is. I mean, it'll be really tight. Okay, that's not thick enough. So now we need a different clamp. So here's a rivet. Let's rivet instead. Let's do 2 silver rivets. I need, now I need my hammer. I think this will work. Yeah, that should work. I just need to go get a hammer now. Going with a rawhide mallet. Okay, fixed. That is not coming off. This and this are trash, but these I didn't use. So rivets to the rescue. And the rivets that I used are just Hobby Lobby 5/16 rivets. I have silver and gold. So this is not coming off. Oh, I love it. Yay! There's plenty of room for that to grow. And it's not coming off. And I like it. It doesn't cover up any of the cover. Ooh, I really like it. And you can just flip it to the back. And there's the inside. The little title thing, and it's got notebook paper and pockets, scrapbook dividers, and cute paper. And then on any of these, like, you could glue in another pocket. Oh, it's cute. I like it. It's kind of banged up right there after that slipped and the hammer incident, or the punch incident, but I don't think that's going anywhere. Oh, I could put, that would be good. That's not, I mean, that's too wide, but I get that. Oh, you know what would be cute is if I did one, oh, I'd rather do that. Now that I already cut this, I'm gonna do one that's the length. Okay, so I'm gonna do one like here. That's 9, so I'm gonna cut it 10. I'm gonna cut this 10 inches. And then I'm gonna trim it. Where's that mark I made? Oh, there it is. Trim it this way. And then I'll get the scoreboard. Score it on 3 sides at 1/2 inch. So there's 1/2 inch that way. 1/2 inch that way, and Oh my goodness, I got a frog in my throat. Half inch that way, all the way across like this. That probably wasn't a very good angle, but needs to be at like a 45. But then when I fold this in, it'll miter that corner like that, so I don't have any overlap. And then I'm gonna put a little, is that the middle? Put a little finger slot in there. And what do I want to glue it on with? How wide is, that's too wide. If y'all can hear my dog, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna put it on with this, my favorite glue. I'm just going to adhere this to the edge of that. And then I have a little pocket which kind of covers up that there. So now there's a pocket that covers up those that messy spot where the rivet, or where the hole that I punched went kind of wacky. Just burnish that down. Ooh, I like this. I like it, I like it. That needs to dry before I okay, so I'll let that dry. Well, that's the project I was working on. That's what I was doing today. And this 1.5 hour long video, I guess this is what you get with an impromptu video from me. It's got a little closure. I like it. I like it a lot. Anyway, thanks guys, and thanks for watching. If you were here this long, I can't imagine how many of you will stick around for 1 hour and 20 minutes, but thank you for watching. Hope you're doing great, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.